Today's video is number 2 in a series of 4 of the newest, biggest purchase I've ever made from a coin show from my favorite coin dealer who does sell a lot of carded world coins. And out of the 4 stacks, we're going to look at stack number 2 today, which is the one right here. I have sorted all of these coins from cheapest to most expensive, so the most expensive one is at the very bottom of the stack. We're going to get to that one last. As a reminder, this particular dealer, the price on pretty much every coin he sells comes straight out of the Kraus catalog. So I'm essentially pretty much paying book price for everything on here, except I bought so much from him that he gave me a really good discount. So to see how we're going to do, I'm going to compare at the very end, I'm going to compare what I paid for the coins versus what Numista, the people crowdsourcing on Numista, think that these coins are going to be worth. So let's jump on in. Today we're going to start with this one right here. When we first pick it up, it looks like it's going to be a British 3-pence coin, although they stopped making the British 3-pence coins well before 1987, except for the Mondi coins, but that's not what this is. We have something from the Ironbridge, the Ironbridge Gorge Museum. This is a series of museums in the Ironbridge Gorge region of Britain, and as we flip it back over, they make a farthing, a half-pence, 1-pence, 3-pence, and 6-pence. This also has an H. Heaton mint mark on it, so it's made, even though it's a token, it's made by a real mint. And what this museum does in the gift shop is they will sell you the vintage pre-decimal British coins, at least the tokens that they make that they sell in their shop, so that you can live like they did in the Victorian era and purchase things with these older tokens. And so the going rate here is 10 British pence, modern British pence to a farthing. And so that translates to this coin would have sold for £1 and 20 pence. And so what you do, you don't have to purchase these tokens from their gift shop, but if you do, you can purchase something else from the gift shop using these tokens. And so it gives you the experience of the way they used to spend money back in the Victorian days. I actually didn't pay anything for this one. He just threw this in for free. We're going to move to Denmark. This is a 50 ore coin. This dealer's really good at labeling everything on here. So this is the 50 ore design has been used for quite a long time. There are 5 different variations of this coin based on the moneyer's initials. And so if you look at the letters there at the bottom, this one starts with an NR, a heart for the Danish mint, JF. And so every time they have a new moneyer, the initials on their coins change. And so this is the first year, 1989 was the first year of this design, and that moneyer only lasted for 1 year. So that makes this a 1-year variation of the coin. It's not that rare. There are 92 million of them made, but as it turns out, I didn't have it. So since it's the first variation, it's KM 866.1. We're going to move to a coin from Ecuador. This one is dated 1937. This one is a 5 centavos. This coin is another 1-year coin, although a lot of their coins of the 5 centavos look pretty similar. But in 1937, I cannot see it at all. But underneath the 5, maybe I can sort of see it on camera, there is an HF mint mark because it was made at the, I believe it's pronounced Huguenin Mint in Switzerland, but only for this year. This was made out of nickel, and it is a 1-year coin that has a mintage of 15 million. It's another one that I just figured I had, but I didn't. Catalog KM 75. We'll go to a coin from Brazil. This one is a 20 centavos from 1957. During this time, all of the circulating coins from Brazil from 1956 to 1961 featured the emblem of Brazil. Now, on this coin, this one is considered a better date because in 1956 there were only 741,000 made. The following year, 1957, there are 25 million made. But that doesn't make it have any premium. I guess no one wants to collect every year of these. So they only charge 15 cents for this one. We'll move to Turkey on a coin that is still valid. This is from the new lira that started in about 2005. So this is from Turkey from 2011. Catalog number is KM1240. This one is the 5 kuruş from 2011. They made these from 2009 to most recently 2022. This coin features on the right, if you see that vertical thing running through it, they call that the Tree of Life, which is a symbol of Turkish mythology. Since it's still a valid currency, this one would have a foreign exchange value in United States money of 0.12 United States cents. This next coin from Yugoslavia is one that I thought I had. It is a 5 dinara from 1963. When I flip it over, during these days, they were part of the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, which are the words on this side written in a couple of different alphabets. The reason I thought I had it is because it's very similar to another coin made in 1953 when it was the Federal People's Republic of Yugoslavia. And the words on this side of it changed, but it was the same currency even though the country changed their style of government. And so this one is KM38. We're moving back to Brazil. This one's going to be a 50 centavos from 1958 of the same design that we just saw a couple of coins back. And on this one, this one's in better shape so we can get a clearer look at the emblem of Brazil that's on here. So in the very middle of it, we have 5 stars on a series of lines. That represents the Southern Cross, which is a constellation that you can see in the south. Then around that is a circle with 26 stars, or 27 stars, because at this time there are 26 states in Brazil, and then they add one to represent the entire country of Brazil. Around that, behind that, we have another 5-pointed star, and then we have some leaves of coffee and tobacco. Then finally, behind that, we have some radiant sun rays. So this one is KM 569. It's pretty easy to find the 1 peseta coins from Spain, although the last one that they used before switching to the euro is actually, I think, the hardest one. It's this tiny little aluminum coin. Has the number 1 and then Juan Carlos I of Spain on here, KM 832. This coin was made from 1989 until 2001 when they switched to the euro. And the date is surrounded by a couple of stars. One year, the star on the left changed to something that kind of looks like a fish or an airplane. I believe that was a mistake, but it's a variation for 1 year. We'll move to a coin from South Africa, where at this time, a lot of their 5-cent coins would feature the blue crane. But for several years, South Africa had a tradition where at the end of the term of their president, the president would appear on all of the circulating coins. And so this was at the end of the term of President Diedrichs there in 1979. So he appears on a lot of the circulating coins, but for only 1 year. This one is catalog KM 100. So I think this next coin is kind of funny because of the flip. Now, I bought it from my favorite dealer, but he bought it from my other favorite dealer who also shows up at the Knoxville, Tennessee shows, and I can tell because of the red ink of the actual price. So This guy, my favorite dealer, bought it for 40 cents and then sold it to me for 25 cents and ended up taking a loss on that one. But this one's going to be a 5 centimes coin from Haiti. And their circulating coins from this time features Charlemagne Perrault. So as I flip it back over, this one is KM 154A. So the original version, 154, was made in 1986, and it was a non-magnetic coin made out of copper, nickel, zinc. But this version of the coin was made in 1995 and 1997, the 154A version. So this one is nickel-plated steel and is magnetic. So I can stick it up to my magnet, and it's going to stick onto there. The Krause catalog doesn't list that there is a variation between the 1995 and the 1997 version. Probably the easiest thing to notice on here is if we move on closer to Mr. Peralta here, is the size of the tie. In 1997, it is a bigger tie with fewer details. The 1995 version has a thinner tie with more details on it, but there's some other differences on here also, such as the size of the accent mark on one of the letter E's on here has a bigger accent mark, and so I don't know if it is, I think it's this one right here, the E in Republic. And then finally, one more small difference is the accent dot over the letter I right here is completely round, and it's more oblong in the 1995 version. As we think of hyperinflation, we have this coin from Turkey. 50 bin lira. Bin means thousand. So this one is a 50,000 lira coin. And I'm thinking he wrote that this coin was extra fine. I might not give it that, but I don't know how to describe the background on this coin. It's almost like it's designed to be on a wall of ivy or something. But here we have from 1998, pretty well worn, I think, for a coin that's old, but catalog number KM 1056. Can't really see it, but there is the letters TC on the edge with some fleur-de-lis between it. I think it's the letter TC and then 4 of those symbols. And then TC, again, repeats, of course, for Turkey. Cumhuriyeti is their initials. I'm always surprised when I can get this coin for a good price. I'm guessing this is a coin that wasn't actually in the catalog. It didn't have a price for 25 at extra fine. It probably only had an uncirculated price. But the foreign exchange value of this coin is pretty good on this one. I just don't know how to cash it in without going to Denmark. But this one features Queen Margaret II. It is a 10 kroner coin, and since Denmark has a fairly strong currency, this one has a foreign exchange value in American money of $1.57. This is, since it's from Denmark, we're still dealing with the initials of the engraver. So here we have that NR again, just like the first Denmark coin we looked at. This one was only made like this for the 1 year, although I did happen to have this one already. This is the second portrait of Queen Marguerite, which was used until 1993. In total, she reigned for 52 years up until 2024. And so to get a coin that's worth $1.50 for a quarter is pretty good. We're back to South Africa. I already had this coin, but this one is brilliant uncirculated, so I decided to pick it up for my collection. So it's dated 1996. It is a 1-year coin, and there is it's one of those things where you can see how it's well worn under the camera here, but it looks pretty flawless when I'm looking at it with just my eyes. But it has the name of the country of South Africa written with the Zulu legend across the top. We flip it over, and at the time, the 1-cent coin features the Cape Sparrows. And so, seeing how shiny this one was, I was wondering if it was even a proof coin. Well, they made this one year 255 million of these. They had 5,000 proofs and 11,000 brilliant uncirculated sets. So it's possible it could have come from one of these, but it also doesn't have a high value since they made so many of them. Unless you had the actual, for sure, proof. We've got another coin from Brazil. This one is older than the last one. It's going to be dated 1928. This one is when they were still using the race system, and so this one is a 500 race from 1928. Features olive branches surrounding the denomination on this one. This one is KM 525. We flip it over. At the time, their 1000 race is almost identical, just bigger. But on this one, just like we talked about earlier, we've got the 5 stars on it. And this time, we have 21 stars in the circle that goes around it, because at the time, they had 21 states instead of the 26 states that they had later. And so this one is, the lady shown here is an allegorical figure called the Figure of Abundance. She is holding a cornucopia, so to show that she has plenty of access to food. So this dealer is really meticulous, except he got the number on this wrong. It actually is 524 because 525 is the similar 1000 race. So I actually didn't have this one. And then here's another coin that I'm kind of surprised I didn't have from India. This one is a modern coin. Still has the Ashoka pillar that appears on a lot of coins from India, but this one is a half of a rupee that is labeled as 50 paisa from 2011. This one appears to be mint, but also a very weak strike, so the details on here are not very strong. On this side we have lotus flowers, but actually shown on the branch, not the way you normally would think of a lotus flower. This one does not have a mint symbol on it, or mint mark, so that means this one was made in Calcutta. We are back to Yugoslavia. This one is a 100 dinara dated 1993. So Yugoslavia was a troubled country for many of its years, and their currency went through frequent turnover. This one is no exception. This is from the Yugoslavia Federal Republic, and this comes from a time where the currency went by so fast it's called the October dinar. Sometimes it'll be referred to as the 4th dinar, but this became their currency in October of the year 1993, and it lasted until the end of December 1993, and then by 1994 they had another dinar ready to go. So this was valid coin for 3 months, and who knows how early in that print run it was even made. So the catalog number, that one is KM 159. When Uganda was separate from Britain, their coins had a very similar appearance to the coins of the British East Africa. However, they did not make a 20-cent coin back when it was East Africa. They did have a 10-cent coin, which was about as large as this one, but it had a hole in the middle. But this one is the 20, and we have 4 tusks that surround the number on this one. And then it actually spells it out 20 cents on this decorative side. This was made in the years 1966 and 1974. Catalog KM3. We're going to move to a fairly large coin from Liberia, and I really like the look of this coin because it's a large coin, so we can see some really good details on here. So we can see the shield, which features a palm tree, a sailboat, I guess a plow in the foreground, a bird flying above the waters, a sun setting in the background. The number 50 is duplicated on here, and it's dated 1976, a 50 cents coin. And then their slogan, "The love of liberty brought us here." But I don't think I've ever seen a coin from Liberia that had Mr. W.R. Tolbert Jr. on it, like this one. The coin was made at the UK Royal Mint. There were only 1 million of these made, which is why I didn't have it. There are a couple of years where there are some Franklin Mint proofs that were made, but this man, Mr. Tolbert, was the president at the time. However, things were not going so well for him, as soon after this coin was made, there were riots, there was a coup, and he was assassinated in 1980. This is catalog KM31. Pretty good shape, except for the scratch that is just on the side right there. Now we've got our first silver coin of the video, and oftentimes I can get silver coins at spot. Now, at the time I visited him, spot price of silver was about $30 an ounce. This coin from Venezuela is 83.5% silver, and so it comes to about 0.0336, and so in melt value today at $40 an ounce gets you $1.38. But I also got this at a third of the price off, so I only paid $1 for this one. But it is also dated 1936 there at the very bottom. So for this 1 year, these were minted in Philadelphia, but for this 1 year, 1937 coins were also made with the 36 on it. So there's really no way of telling them apart. So that makes this the most common date of this particular coin, which was minted from 1894 to 1948. We'll flip it over, and here we have Simón Bolívar, the liberator. So what do you not see on this coin? So at the around the top, we have Estados Unidos de Venezuela. We have the silver weight of 1.250 grams, the year, the fineness of 835, but nowhere on here does it say that it is a 25 centimes or centimos. In my catalog, it actually says this would have been called a quarter of a Bolivar at the time. So, yeah, they didn't tell you had to know the math of the silver weight on here. So, apparently 5 grams would have been 1 Bolivar at the time. So you would have had to know that 1 1/4 grams was 1/4 of a Bolivar on here. This coin is Y. Number 20. If you're looking for coins which now today make up Germany, before Germany was its own empire, there were all these smaller countries, I guess you'd call them, that made up what is today Germany, and it can be madness going through the 1700, the 1800 catalogs to try and figure them out. This one comes from a place called Hesse-Cassel. Sometimes Castle is spelled with a K instead of a C. Oftentimes this will also be called the electorate of, I guess that's Hesse. And the ruler here was called the Prince Elector. He was Frederick William I, who was the Prince Elector here from 1847 to 1866. And I think this has nothing to do with like the electors or the electoral college that you would have, or the electorate that you think of in modern politics or an American electoral college, anything like that, where the electors get together and vote on somebody. In this case, the Prince Elector himself was an elector that had something to do with the Holy Roman Empire, even though that empire was gone by the time this coin was made. And so we've got a 3 Heller coin dated 1866 on here, which was the last year that this prince was the ruler over there. We flip it over and we have the crest of the Hesse-Cassel crest on here. Then around the edge we have the number 120, Einen Taler. And so that means that it took 120 of these to make 1 Taler. So 1 Taler was 360 pfennigs. So this one's in very good condition. It's hard to put a price on something like that, but the catalog says if you found this uncirculated MS-60, it would be worth $50. And oftentimes on his older, well-worn coins, he gave me half price of what was written on there. So maybe I only paid $1 for that one. I don't know. Yeah, I've kind of forgotten which was which. We're now moving to a coin from Monaco that I've never seen before. And so this is a 1 franc coin from 1977. The ruler at the time was Prince Rainier III. For people in the United States, he's probably best known as being the ruler married to movie star Grace Kelly. This is the new franc, which ran from 1960 to 2001, and now Monaco is on the euro. We flip it over, we've got the crown and the shield and the 1 FR for franc. Their slogan of Deo Juvante translates to "with God's help." This was made in Paris because it's got the Paris Privy mark here, and then an engraver's mark. The one on the right is supposed to be a dolphin. I don't know how close I can get to that, but so every time they have a new engraver, instead of having initials like Denmark, they have a symbol. That one liked the dolphin. There were 188,000 of these made for a small country, so that's why it's hard to come by. This coin is made out of nickel, and so my price here was $2. Numista thinks this was worth $3.50, so I did pretty good on that one. This next coin is probably my biggest regret, and I kind of figured there was a chance of that, but in case it was something real, then I didn't want to pass it up for a price tag of $2. But take a look here. This is a Mexican coin that appears to be made out of brass. We flip it over. It is the 50 or 50 centavos from 1964. This coin was not made out of brass. This coin was made out of copper nickel. And so odds are pretty good that this was a plated coin. But for a plated coin, the details on it are still pretty good. Maybe plating technology when it comes to brass is a whole lot better than I realize. But I Googled it. I looked all over Numista for it just to see if there's anything legitimate that could be about this one. That does not appear to be the case. But so that would kind of make this coin not really worth anything. And if it was an uncirculated version of this coin that was not plated, it still would only book for 90 cents. But hey, it only cost me a couple of dollars, and I thought it was worth checking into it. This coin, by the way, features King Ku Otomok. So now we'll move to a coin that really is made out of brass. We have this one from Ghana. The shape of this coin is called an equilateral curve heptagon, which means it's 7-sided. The shell on here is called a cowrie shell, and depending on where you look, that has a couple of different spellings on it. KM19, it's a 1 cedi coin from 1979. This features the coat of arms, but their coins have featured a couple of different coat of arms over the years. So this is called the simple coat of arms, which is kind of surprising because it is a larger coin and you would have more room for more detail on it. And so I didn't have this one, and I'm kind of surprised because there were 160 million of these made and is worth $3. And Numista also says it's worth $3. So I guess 160 million of those, not too many made it out of Ghana. This next coin was in a flip that was originally prepared by Foothills Coins. I've never heard of them, but I suppose they're in the foothills of some mountains somewhere. We're close to North Carolina, so maybe that's where they come from. And it's going to be a coin that is an area that was ruled by the Portuguese, because this is the design of any country ruled by the Portuguese in 1959. We flip it over, and it is the state of India. So this is in your catalog is Portuguese India. We've got a $sign and then the number 60. So that does not mean it's a $60 or 60 escudos coin. The way that the Portuguese do their currency is if the number is before the symbol, then that's how many escudos you have, and so this is kind of the change. But it's still unusual that it's a 60 centimos. That's kind of a strange number to have on a coin, especially if you're not good at math. It might be kind of hard to price something at 60 of anything. But that does date back to their pre-decimal system, back when it was, at this point, it's called the Republic of India. But in earlier years, when it was still Portuguese controlled, this coin replaced the 1 tanga coin, because a tanga was 1/16th of a rupiah. But the 1 tanga replaced the older colonial 60 race coin, so people still knew how to spend and calculate race up to that point. This is my 3rd ever coin from the Republic of Portuguese India, made out of copper nickel, not silver. And so this decimal system was only made from 1958 to 1961, and this coin was only made 58 and 59. There were only 5 million of this coin made, and the mintage figures are the total for both years. But in the catalog, the 59 is slightly more valuable, so that makes people think it's probably harder to find, slightly more rare. This next coin's from the country of Djibouti, and I think it's interesting. The first time I ever got a coin from Djibouti, it was from the same dealer, although it was several years ago, and he pronounced it Djibouti, and ever since then I've had trouble remembering. I always called it Djibouti, and I just wondered if it's one of those things where everyone just was mispronouncing it here in America, and he knew how to pronounce it, but no, apparently it really is called Djibouti. So we've got the coat of arms of Djibouti on here, and so we've got a circle, a sphere, a shield, a circular shield in front of a spear, has a star on top of it, and has 2 different hands holding really large knives, and then some leaves going around that. So that's the Djibouti coat of arms. We flip it over, and we have 2 dromedary or African camels on here. And in my last video of coins from this dealer, we had a coin of what Djibouti was called before it was called Djibouti. It was called the French territory of Apars and Issus. And at that time, the 50 franc coin looked just like this. So this coin was still made in Paris. We still have the Paris mint mark, and we're back to the dolphin over here as the mint master on here. But this is still a valid currency. It would be worth in American money 28 cents. There were only 100,000 of these made, and so my price was $6. Numista says it was $3.90. So may have overpaid a little bit on that one. Numista seems to say I underpaid for anything cheap, and I overpaid for anything that is higher value, it seems like. We're going to end with one more silver coin. This one is going to be from Morocco. It's also labeled as the Sharifian Empire, which is the name of the French-controlled area of Morocco during this time. The ruler at the time was Mohammed V, and while it was a French protectorate at this time, they did get their independence a little bit later, when it was catalog KM52 and had a price of $10 on it. Now the silver melts, this one is not at melt price, so it's 72% silver, not quite a tenth of an ounce of silver. So the melt value today at $40 an ounce is $3.80. But the book value on this one says $8.50 on Numista. So, and since I got it a third off the price, I didn't really overpay for this one. But the Moroccan coins has a star in a circle and a star with some Arabic writing on this silver coin. So that is the most expensive coin out of this video. So in total, everything that we looked at today If you were to add up the sticker price of every coin in this video, that comes to $36.90. And so if you were to take a third of the price off of that one, I actually paid closer to $25 for everything in this video. Numista says that everything that we picked up in this video is worth $45. So again, I did pretty good on here trying to find some things that were close to what I think thought were bargains. All right, so that's all for video number 2. Our next video is going to be pile number 3, coming up next time. All right, I'll catch you then. Bye.